pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everyone, take your seats. Verification of notice.
This meeting is being held pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act of 1974, and all provisions of that act have been met with adequate notice of this meeting, having been published in the Township's two official newspapers on January 12, 2025, published in the Township website, and posted on the official Township bulletin board.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the approval of minutes. We have December 9th, 2024 executive session. Can we get a motion? Well, we take both of them. Executive session and the December 9th council meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a first,
I'll second.
we have a second. Roll call.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Abstain.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. That is passed. Okay, we do have communications here. We have the township is submitting a Green Acres grant proposal. This is a cost estimate, park concept plan, and description of work are available with the agenda in the back of the room. Questions can be asked during the public comment portion of this meeting. So if nobody received that packet, if you haven't, what we'll do is during the public portion, if you have any questions in regards to that packet from the survey, you'll be free to ask those questions during that time. And we're gonna move on to, we have a few more appointments to make for our environmental committee. I have 4 names here, I have 3 names, and I have an additional name to add. For our environmental committee, we have an appointment with term for January 1st, 2025 to 2027 for Ms. Beatrice Brolo, Jeffrey Koval, Ms. Liz Wheeling Summers, and Mr. Richard Dow. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve.
You have a first? You get a second?
I'll second.
You have a second? Roll.
Sorry.
Burkus.
Burkus.
And real quick, the Rich Dow term was the same term?
Same time. Do we have a first and a second? Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Thank you. All right.
Point of order, I was just looking through all the different people that submitted applications. There are 5 spots open, we appointed 4, there's one person, Sally Palumbo. She submitted her application by the deadline of December 22nd. I need to appoint Sally Palumbo as well, do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
I believe
These are mayor appointments.
Oh, okay,
So-
would you consider, only because she submitted her application
Well,
in
the
December?
chair, I don't know if the chair reached out to you to interview her. I'm not sure if that occurred. So we can follow up with that.
Did the chair interview all of the
Yes,
applicants?
he did.
And you don't know if they reached out to Sally or not?
I'm not sure. Hold that.
Okay, only because, you know, I'm trying to honor the fact that the
But
people
everyone
who
else that's been
submitted-
appointed has been interviewed.
Okay, we can reach out to her directly.
Okay,
Thank
We
you.
can find out. Moving on to the ordinance for first reading by title only. So this is the first reading, so there'll be no, questions or public comments on these particular, readings right now. That will happen during the second reading. So we have an ordinance 2025, ordinance amending chapter 149, land use to permit delivery of cannabis, and further amend chapter 89A to establish a limit on the number of class 6 delivery licenses in the township. And I think we'll take these individually.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah, we'll take these in,
Yes.
that's fine.
Yes.
So ordinance 2025-1, can we get a motion?
Point of information, may I ask a question about this?
Can you ask a question about this? In regards to this first
May I-
time?
Ask the question.
Yeah, I'll ask a question, if you can't answer, you can. It was not clear to me in the full, in all of the information that was provided, if this was allowing for delivery for existing cannabis, retail, or if this was opening, for potentially new businesses that were just doing delivery.
As I understand it, it's, and I'll have to clarify, but as I understand it, it's, it would allow a new business to be a marijuana delivery business is the Class 6 license. Now, I suppose a current retailer could apply for one of those licenses as well, but this is it's a separate license.
Separate license.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, can we get a motion for this?
Motion.
We have a first,
Second?
we have a second.
I'm
Roll
sorry,
call.
is that?
That was
First-
me, I have to look up, I know.
Sorry. First is, Mr. DeFalco, second is Ms. Bush.
That is it.
Roll call?
Ms. Astor?
No.
Ms. Purvis?
No.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Does not,
Does not pass.
does not carry.
Yeah, it does not carry. So we have ordinance 2025-2, an ordinance amending chapter 149 entitled Land Use to create a new Health and Sciences District and Article 18, and to modify related zoning requirements as recommended in the Mount Holly Township Master Plan Reexamination Report adopted by the Planning Board of September 10, 2024. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I had earlier in the day asked to see a map of all the current homes that would be affected by this rezoning. It's all just block and lot numbers, so it's really hard to tell. Is there a map available? And is this super time sensitive and must be passed today? Because I really feel comfortable looking at who would be affected, like the nearby property owners. Some of the language made it seem as if, I mean, and maybe it could be explained to me, I just didn't wanna vote on something with not seeing what properties would be affected that were residential.
I am certain that there are residential properties included in that area. But just because they're in that zone does not mean that they cannot be there. Doesn't mean that they can be there as a non-conforming use. And there are even provisions in that ordinance to allow them to expand the residence. So it's trying to straddle both needs, so to speak, of the hospital and the demand for expansion there, and also for the needs of the residents to just live in the.
So basically, cause I had no, it won't affect homeowners' freedoms, just do the things that they would normally do in their property if they lived anywhere else. It's not curtailing their rights to, I don't know, build a garage or have a,
It allows them to do the minor additions and things like that, yes.
Okay.
They would not be able to build a new home. Not even, they would not be able to build, if there was a vacant lot there, they would not be able to build a new home.
Just be like new development.
You need new development within that particular.
Right.
zone. New zoning. That's
The existing development is non-conforming and also provided, as I said, some leeway for expansion so that they don't need a use variance for the little things they want to do.
I mean, this is actually very simple. Why the rezoning? Why?
I believe it's
why-
land that they already own.
Is land that they already own from the hospital. First.
Or helping them out so that they can stay at the house.
Okay, just making sure, cause I know, like, you know, anyone that owns a home in the area, when I was looking through it, I just thought, you know, how could this affect someone that owns property that might be in some way prohibited down the road from doing a certain project on the property that they own, not smoking. So, thank you, cause it was a lot to read, and I had no map. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions for 2025-2? Seeing none, can I get first?
Motion?
You have first,
I'll second.
you have second.
Just kidding.
I looked up.
Ms. Astor?
I'll abstain.
Ms. Purvis?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and we have ordinance 2025-3, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank per NJSA 40-4-45.14.
It's a standard cap.
This is a standard cap. And do we have any additional questions on this?
Motion to approve ordinance number 25-3.
We have a first by Mr. DeFalco. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. Perkins.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes. Thank you. All right, matters to be presented to by the public. Members of the public are invited to submit comments during the public comment portion of this meeting. The council pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act will not publicly discuss personnel matters and may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, the council will give all comments appropriate consideration and refer all individual complaints to the township manager or appropriate township representative or for resolution. Each citizen will be allotted up to 3 minutes to speak in order to allow everyone an opportunity to express their opinions and or concerns. So we're gonna start, we go by row. So we'd like to start in the first row here.
Good evening, Councilor Richard, Bank, Tara, and Kim. Good evening. Well, first one is Friday. It was an amazing event. And Kim, you just kids who win. You don't have to go. Who won the chili contest?
So we know who won.
RCBC won first place.
RCBC won by the judges, and then I think Toritos won the public choice.
Yes.
Both.
Where was the results posted? Were they posted?
I saw it on Facebook.
On Facebook.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I would like. It was amazing. Did everybody attend it? All the council people attend the Fire and Ice?
I was indeed there. It was
Uh,
I was there in the morning.
very crowded, very good turnout.
Okay, I thought it was amazing. I want to take my mother, but you know, man, she's in the condition not to travel outside her house, not unless I keep her company. First is, are we going to have I would like to see first night for this year. Do you think that's possible? Or I have to go to Main Street?
You mean the first night?
That used to be ran by Main Street back in the day.
Yeah, I would like to see that back in 2025. I mean,
That was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Last
That was
time I
New Year's
was-
Eve celebration, it was a while ago.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't think
right.
we have, there have been special events, I don't think there's anything on our officially,
Nothing on
the
our
township.
official.
But that doesn't mean another one of our local organizations couldn't take that on.
and I have a second for the people who do the survey. Do you know how many people that did the survey, or?
Was the number that returned the survey?
Yeah.
Rich, do you have those numbers?
I was just gonna pull it
Rich,
up.
274.
Okay.
Josh has it. Josh, can you repeat that? 274. 274.
Oh, good. That's good. That's a good. Second is Revolution 2025, 29, and 34. Can you clarify more?
29 and 34.
Yes.
29 is a resolution regarding public comment. So
You-
make sure we remain in order in this particular meeting. And
It would be, do you think it would be?
And 34, Josh, 34 is for the.
It's
This is-
a company that does our rehabilitation.
That's right,
for
that's rehabilitation.
Our rehabilitation.
Yeah, that's the rehabilitation. Go ahead, Louis.
Oh, for,
John's also.
okay, for 2025, 29, it will more for detail, it will be increased, or for the public comment?
Time limit still remains 3 minutes.
3 minutes? How could we make it to 5 minutes?
That's
I mean,
up for discussion at this time.
Huh?
That's not up for discussion at this time.
Could you bring that in a future discussion? I would appreciate it, thank you.
Consider the future. Thank you.
Okay.
Next row.
Yeah.
Audrey Winter, 2 White Street.
Michael on?
I have. Yeah, but you would know.
There's a button.
It's already on.
Is it?
It's already
Okay.
on.
Before we went upstairs.
I'll speak louder, no problem. I have a couple questions regarding the, resolution. No, it's not working. It is working. Hello? Hello? I've never been told I wasn't speaking loud enough.
Was it gain up a little bit there?
I don't know.
Speak down.
Ah, there you go, turning me up.
I am turning.
Okay,
There you go.
hello, hello, all right. So the, resolution 2025-27, I guess my question would be, the 5-year plan suggests that it would be inserted in the master plan as the economic development, element. So I didn't know if that was what the plan was here, and I think that would have some impact upon whether or not that resolution is something that should be adopted. I have never seen any revisions to the 5-year plan, even though I sent pretty copious notes on it. I did get an email back from Dave, but it didn't seem to really respond to that, because I think it's council deciding whether or not it goes into the master plan, I think, or the planning board, I'm not sure. So the question is, does the 5-year plan go in as the economic development element of the master plan? Because that's what's suggested. The other thing is that we're still trying to sort out, and I was at the UEZ meeting last week regarding the UEZ being advisory to council, or whether it's a separate entity that carries on and conducts its business as its own. So I don't really know how all that fits together, but maybe you guys do. The other thing is Historic Preservation Commission, I see, is not again being seated at this meeting, and I know the excuse was that the reason was because you were looking at the ordinances, the township ordinances as they pertain to historic preservation. But I'm perplexed because the CLG and the Historic Preservation Commission were in place for decades under our existing historic preservation ordinance and with the existing state statutes. So if nothing changed, what is it that you're looking to change? So I guess that would mean I would ask, why not seat the HPC now, unless what the UEZ 5-year plan says, which is in fact true, which says council wants to abolish the historic preservation plan element. So if you want to abolish it, that makes sense to me then completely why you're not seating the Historic Preservation Commission. But if that's not true, and I've been told by many of you that it's not true, then do it.
Audrey, I'll let you, I'll
Please.
put it up to Chris to extend time, but
Yeah.
I would like to address a couple of things. One, the assumption that the council and its body is looking to abolish it.
Yeah.
Just because we have appointed somebody yet, the reorg just happened about a week and a half ago, is ludicrous. And I love you.
No,
You have to
it
I wanna
says
make
it.
sure- right, I want to make sure that we don't set a precedence that that's the thought process of the community, that's what we're doing.
Then why did it say it in the 5-year plan?
And let Rich finish.
I would love to.
Are you're responding, talking about the 5-year plan audit that occurred?
The UEZ 5-year plan says in there that council is looking to, I forget, Dave's gonna tell me the exact words, but council is looking to, and not this council, that council, maybe it's different, is looking to abolish the historic preservation element. And that, to me, means, and it goes on and elaborates, but that's the basic sentence that you gotta really hone in on. And if that's not true, then it shouldn't be in the master plan, and then that, or in that, the master plan. So then, if the historic preservation 5-year plan is gonna become the economic development element of the master plan, then it's gonna include that.
We'll let Dave, you wanna explain the difference between what she is referring to as the master plan and then the difference between what the 5-year UE plan, 5-year UEZ plan is to accomplish? Thank you.
When the reexamination of the master plan was taking place, we reviewed the historic preservation, and it was not compliant with state law. state law has changed a couple times since that was adopted, and it really was not enforceable. The historic preservation aspect of the ordinances were not enforceable. So the master plan recommended redoing the historic preservation element, of which we have submitted a proposal to do that. And to make the historic preservation element and the historic ordinances compliant with the law. So that is.
Does the UEZ 5-year plan say in it that council is working towards abolishing the historic preservation element? Does the 5-year plan say that in there? Because that's how I read it, but maybe, you know, I'm not the smartest tool in the box, and I sure could have misread that.
Audrey, may I say, I was confused because I remember going to both meetings and I couldn't remember what was on where. And I looked through it. It was the planning board master plan that had that wording in there. The UBZ 5-year plan
Okay.
did not. Because
Fine.
it's really important for
But
That was the review of the element that we have, saying that there's deficiencies, so.
True, just like where
So the
you
master
saw that
plan says
wording
it,
was
okay,
not
I
in
stand
the
corrected,
definition.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, I
but the
thought
master
that was
plan
wrong.
does say it.
That's
So
where
if
you
the
saw
5-year
it.
plan is going to become, is the idea in this that the UEZ 5-year plan become the economic development plan or section element of the master plan?
The 5-year plan needs to be approved, otherwise you can't send.
Or we can't say,
Right.
the 5-year plan for the UEZ has to be approved.
And the UEZ board approved the 5-year plan, and it has to go to council, which the UEZ is an advisory board to council, because you're still required to pass a resolution above that.
Exactly. So,
Let's drop it, because you guys have already approved it, so we'll move on. But the Historic Preservation Commission,
your
I,
time is up. We gave you more, time.
thank you, Dave and Rich, for taking up my time.
Next row.
Hi, Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. I have first a question regarding the review, what we just talked about, the review of our rules, which are apparently unenforceable with the state rules, which may differ somehow. And my understanding was that our solicitor was undergoing that, and I was just wondering, has that process started, is there progress? How close are we to getting that done?
So, repeat yourself again, repeat that question?
Chris was talking about the ordinance that we're looking to modify what we have from a historic perspective.
Boom, exactly right.
Okay.
So, and the process has started, and ERI has submitted a proposal to, do a study so that we can understand what areas need to be included in the historic preservation ordinance, and then begin that, and then actually.
So the legal process hasn't started, it's with the engineers
Well,
currently?
no, so it's both. The legal, we looked at it, decided, and realized some of the areas that are deficient, and now we're working with the engineer to get what we need to get to council, so that they can then decide what they want in the ordinance.
Steve, I think it would be good to let everyone know, obviously not on the printed agenda, but resolution 2024-38 is a resolution that will be added to the agenda, and that is approving that proposal from ERI to do just exactly what was found in the report that was provided to council and the planning board to remediate the deficiencies in the historic commission. This way it can become updated and compliant with state regulations, allowing its ordinances to be enforceable as opposed to not enforceable, which was earlier described on how our current situation is right now.
Correct.
Do we have a sense of like how long this takes? Is it weeks, months?
Certainly not weeks.
Okay, that gives me a better sense. That's what I had, okay. The other thing was I wanted to comment, or more like object, to the resolution, which is 2025-19. What I'm reading, to me, is alarming. I really think the resolution is not necessary, and that it treads on dangerous constitutional grounds. In the past, I've been told like, oh, I can't say this and can't say that. Be very careful about a government telling a private citizen what they can and cannot say, and even how they can say it. You know, when you signed up to be a leader, a political leader, you signed up for complaints. Sometimes people complain more than once about the same thing. So you can't say, oh, you can't repeat your complaint.
Thank you. Anyone else in the next row? All right. Terry, what?
You can go and then I'll go.
Hi, Happy New Year. I'm Terry Sackett, 106 Green Street, Mount Holly, New Jersey. I'm also here as warden of St. Andrew's Church, which is 121 High Street, Mount Holly. The reason for my being here is that I didn't realize other people who spoke before me, but St. Andrew's Church was started in 1742, and we've been continuous in this town since then. We're older than the township, we're older than the state. Because of the bicentennial in 1772, which you probably are old enough, but I remember because I'm old. Because of the bicentennial in 1772, that's when they created that historic district in Mount Holly, of which St. Andrews is a part of. Recently, I went to apply for a grant. Now, because of the semi-quincentennial that's happening in 2 years, and the federal government dumped money at the state, and now the state's dumping money all over the place. They have so much money they don't even know what to do with. They threw historical preservation certified local government grants that's due February 25th, 2025. I went to start the process of writing a grant. I've already just received the grant from Homeland Security for the church of $100,000 because we're in the historical district. So my question to all of you is, we need that historical commission, preservative commission. You need to appoint them. Hopefully somebody applied for the position. I don't know that for sure, but I hopefully apply it because you're preventing us from getting we wanted to buy, one of those temperature air control units because I have documents from King James signature on it. We need them to be historically preserved better than what we're doing. I've got old blueprints from the beginning of time. So I just was wondering, because I'd heard it a little bit, but I'm not sure I understood. Will you be appointing this commission before this grant that I can apply for on February 25th?
We'll be appointing people, but I don't know if she was going to complete by February 25th.
Can I ask a question, Terry?
Yes.
There's like all these different levels of us being qualified and registered, like, I know that we've lost some of our certification. Is that grant is contingent on having a historical commission, period? Or
It is, every township needs to have one. I know the county alerted you all back in August, because I got those minutes, and that you need that and that CLG. And it's just a form that you need to fill out.
Okay, my point being, is it just having that commission in place by the end of the?
Yes, that's the only thing that's preventing me as warden of St. Andrews, that was elected position, that they just re-elected me, yes, on Sunday.
COG is certified as a town. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sackett.
okay, thank you. Didn't get
My
an answer.
question then is,
You never did.
who can answer this quickly, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Even if we were to appoint a historic commission tonight, we still wouldn't be able to get that CLG qualification by the end of February.
By the 25th, so you won't have another meeting before that date.
I just don't know the process.
Our
They
next
don't.
meeting will be February 10th.
But I think the issue is because of the decertification by the state, I don't think that even if there were people appointed, I'm not familiar with the specific grant she's talking about, so I can't
I know you can't answer
answer the question
but
specifically.
I'm imagining it's more than just appointing a commission tonight. We would then need to
I think
submit.
there's more steps that probably.
Because we were decertified.
More steps. But if February 25th deadline probably, it's possible, or it's doable, or it's not. But we don't know. We don't have.
Thank you.
Because at least if you started the process, I can say, oh, it's in the works.
Terry, could you
Yes.
go over to me any details you have on that grant?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Can you forward whatever you have?
Can you forward whatever you have to me,
To you? Sure,
and then we'll have a conversation, see what we can do.
absolutely. Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else in that same row? All right, going on to the next row behind Ms. Sackett.
Standing right here.
All right, I'm so sorry. Betty Jean, I'm sorry. Sidebar.
Apologies, something. Okay, Betty Jean Kessler, 418 Langstaff Avenue, Mount Holly, New Jersey. I missed last month's meeting, but I brought up an issue about the street sweepers and the leaves. And was that problem looked into and the taxpayers reimbursed for a service we didn't get? That's my first question. Second question is trash removal. How come we weren't notified until January the 3rd when we got the card in the mail saying our trash was changed to January the 7th by a new company? Don't you think that's kind of late to be notifying us after the first of the year, especially when Mr. Brown's neighborhood got his trash picked up, but 90% of us didn't? I thought that was very unfair and inappropriate, since most of the people on my street didn't know, and their trash built up for 4 weeks. So that's the other issue. Now, Resolution 2025-29. I have several concerns here. First one, no time may be yield to a speaker by another speaker. Is that a state reg? Is that an ordinance? Is that a resolution by you that this is going to be done? Because even on the federal level, you have congressmen and them allot their time to other people. So I would like to know where this comes from and what reg does it fall under, or statute, for this statement here. Next statement, the mayor or his designee may respond to questions either at the end of the public participation session or response. Any person they deem to be disruptive will be told by either the mayor or their designee that you're being disruptive, and you may be terminated from speaking. Okay, my question is, I'm not comfortable with a man or any man up there telling me I'm being disruptive, first of all. Second of all, I don't recognize the authority of the mayor or the deputy mayor, because numerous years ago, the right to free elections to pick a mayor in this town was taken away, and it's done by the council members. So I really think the authority has an issue with the voters who didn't get the right to pick a mayor, since we have no election to pick a mayor. As far as civil rights go and our First Amendment right to free speech, I feel like you're interfering and that you're hindering our right to free speech under the First Amendment. Furthermore, we never get any feedback. There's no problem-solving skills, lack of communication, and our First Amendment rights are literally being violated by this 2025-29 resolution.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kessler. Anyone else in that same row? Ms. Kessler? All right, let's move on to the next row. Anyone? Okay, now let's move on to anyone else? Let's move on to that row behind them. Sarah Smart.
Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street. I'm a little upset about your maybe not listening to the residents. I mean, this is a new year, and we told all the residents we were going to be, our political plan was progress, not politics. And it seems like we're going backwards in some respects on this. The people have a right to complain and be heard and answered to. And I hope this happens this year where you guys, it seems like you guys are answering some of our questions, which is great. We appreciate that. That's why a lot of the residents are mad. They come here, they have a complaint, nobody gets back to them, and then it festers for another month till they see you again. And we can alleviate a lot of this by little transparency by the township government to solve some of these problems. Back to the getting that CLG program, the reason we were gotten rid of from the state of New Jersey is because for 7 times, I was carrying the paraphernalia, the paperwork around. And the state of New Jersey has been notifying the Township of Mount Holly's manager that we're gonna get decertified and declassified and taken off we're gonna lose our designation. We never responded. That's why we were removed. It was because of lack of communication by the Township Council to keep us, it's the state of New Jersey. So we lost our CLG program. So we're not, we can't receive grants or any of this other stuff. It wasn't any fault of the commission, it was a fault of the Township Council. I have all you guys up there and our manager. I've got the letter from them. If you'd like to see it, I'll show you why we were decertified by the state of New Jersey. And we can be recertified, but we have to follow steps. One is Historic Preservation Commission. I think that was one of the things you had to have. Because I actually talked to the state. And they said it was just the township ruined it for the residents. And we lost our designation because of these people up here didn't do their jobs. So if you guys truly believe in historic preservation, and I see on this new plan, our history, you talk about our history stuff, it's on our signs, everything about us is history, history, history. Well, show it. We have a very small district, we have very few houses. And the township, we went around, my wife was involved, and they went house by house and designated houses as whether they're significant or not significant. We have all that information. The township paid for that. We actually had a planner who went around and certified the paperwork. So all this work's been already done. So I don't know what the holdup is. But if you truly care about historic preservation, you guys need to do something about it.
Thank you, Mr. Redline.
Hello, I'm Lee Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street. My husband just said a lot about a lot of things that I was going to say. I'm a 40-year resident of Mount Holly. I'm a former member of the past Historic Preservation Commission, and I was a chairman for about 8 years. I have ordinances, we have boundaries, it's already been designated. It would be very easy to get this commission back up and running. We have a survey. Our properties have been designated key, contributing or non-contributing. We know which ones are important, what we need to be saving, and what's not important. I believe the reason that you're not interested in creating a commission has something to do with redevelopment. That brings me kind of back to Shirley Kessler. This ordinance 2025-2 about the hospital. Are these properties the hospital owns? Like, why are we creating an ordinance just for the hospital to create their own zone? To what? So they can do whatever they want with those properties within that zone? And you can't rebuild in that zone? So people who own, if they come in and start demolishing everything, we have no way to protect it. I'm sorry, sir, what is your name?
My name is David Benedetti.
Are you the planner that wrote the plan for the master plan?
I did not. That was Ed Fox.
Ed Fox, okay, sorry. So anyway, back to the commission. I have put an application that a lot of people have. There's no reason you can't get this thing up and going very quickly. It's a permitted process. It's, properties that need permits like roof replacement. It's not, what color am I gonna paint my house, or the type of issues that I think a lot of people have concerns about. So I'm available if you have any questions, let me know.
All right, thank you, Senator.
Ms. Eversmeyer, can I ask a quick question? When, either you, I don't know if you were both referring to the same surveying and its photos were taken, when was that survey done last?
Probably in the late 90s.
Okay.
And I
Do you
probably
still have all that information?
I do have a lot of information, yes.
I know in the proposal that was written, that we all reviewed for the resolution going on, it did mention that there was data referring prior that they had on catalog. I'm not sure to what extent that data needs to be updated or just reread and say, it's been reread and checked off, and then we can say it's just said it, so perhaps if.
Well, I know for sure we've lost one of these by hereditary events and stuff, for example, so I'm sure it's gonna be.
Right, I mean, it's 1990.
Be nice to have a place to start.
Well over 25 years ago, so I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever things that happen, I look at it, it's what's relevant, what's not.
Yeah, I'm
If you
happy
could
to
that
share
data-
what I
if you could
have
share that
with
data
you.
us, that'd be great.
That, I'm happy to do that.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Andy and Jeff, if you can, before this evening, just, if you can share your details with ERI, who will be working on this, so should they have any questions regarding the data that you might have.
Yeah.
You guys can have that.
Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Branch Street. Happy Monday, everyone. It was a wonderful Fire and Ice Festival. Glad to see the street carvers coming back. I thought it was awesome, except you guys, excuse me, didn't have cotton candy. So hopefully next year we can make sure we have cotton candy. It was?
We
Oh,
had
it must have
candy.
been all that time right out there. Few quick questions, and then one is gonna be the dead horse. Just curious now, since, Rich, you've been elected, do you have an estimate on when we're gonna be in our new building? How long are we gonna be here underneath this shared service agreement with the fire
Hopefully sooner
commission?
than later. I do know that we did get, some information that, construction will be starting
Starting
soon
soon.
because we got the approval for a USDA grant, which is a good thing. We've been trying to do this with grant money versus tax money, so it's a little slower than we would hope, but at the end of the day, it'll be a good
Hopefully
thing.
by the end of this year, before
The end of this year.
Before the-
So, as far as the PA system from here, working on, are we gonna have anything temporary? Amazon sells, microphones. Should I purchase one for everybody? You don't see it as a need, Mr. Mayor?
There's no need for you to purchase it.
Okay, so do you got grant that you can purchase so we can hear people
The
better?
new building will have a full sound.
But that's a year from now, you said.
I didn't say it, I said by the end of this year.
Okay,
So,
very
it could be
well.
before that.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry.
we'll look in and see what we can do to make sure that the public can hear what we're saying up here much better. I was saying.
I would hope so, because, Rich, when I was at the Fire and Ice Festival, I talked to a couple of people, and the word on the street was that particular people here don't want the public to hear what's going on. That's why nothing has been done. I've been asking for a temporary mic since we've been over there in that rat hole of a building over there.
Maureen, I agree with the building over there. That was a whole issue to begin with. I do know that obviously we are sharing the space, thankfully from the fire department to do that. We do have some stuff that's set up here with the speakers to be able to communicate with people who are in the back. But from even being here and sitting in the back, it's very difficult to hear what anyone's saying up here. Even if I raise my voice as much as I can without being overly obnoxious and loud right over here, it's very difficult for someone in the back to be able to hear what
Okay.
someone is saying. So anyway, where I'm going with this is, we'll look at what we can do to make sure we can have some amplification.
Okay, very well. The next thing I have is, I'm looking at an old email from November 24th, 2024, 7:46 p.m. I got a message from Joe Brinkley from the, forwarded to me. He's county commission. He works on the county engineering. And he goes on to specifically say, I appreciate your patience while I attempt to resolve what appears to be a communication gap. He's talking about a communication gap within my own township, okay? Anybody needs this Oprah, I can forward it to everybody. So, we're talking about communication here. 2025 moving forward, and we still have communication issues. This is only November. So that was my main concern as far as communication issues. And, the last thing is, in regard to 2025, 2029. My concern is, Mr. Mayor, for persons who enter the meeting late. There are several people who come here late to the meetings and gradually seat themselves right here in the front row. So, as you go row by row, are you planning to elect to ask when people come at the last minute? I've been to a couple of meetings where I see people come and sit in the front and they're just looking around like, is it my turn yet? Because they missed the whole meeting. So I have never heard you redirect anyone who came and sat in the front when the house was full, especially, everyone wants to have the last word here, it seems, so we all kind of sit in the back. So I'm just curious about that.
Appreciate that. Thank you for your
Thank you.
concerns and comments. Anyone else in that row that was moving forward from? All right, let's move it on. Anyone else in the back of the room? Yeah, that's now it's over in the back. Just start mine.
Michael Rothmel, 33 Union Street. I hope I'm not repetitive because it appears under 2025, 29, I could be shut down, if that were to pass. So that's one of the basis for that. But I want to first get to the 5-year plan, because it is confusing with regard to ERI, with regard to abolishing the historic certification of Mount Holly. And I would note, every year in Yom Kippur, we say a list of sins from the Middle Ages, which are still relevant today. And one of them is confusion of mind. And it appears to me tonight there's a lot of confusion of mind that's unnecessary. It appears the majority of the people on the council tonight want to have a historical commission, want to get a CLG, and want to get the process moving. And the first and best way to do it, from what I've heard from people that know more than me on this issue, is to appoint a historical commission. And there's no reason somebody can't make a motion tonight. I want to make a motion to appoint people to the historical commission. Is there a second? Is there discussion? Let's call a roll call. That would be a possibility. Then you would have a historical commission in place. Then you could go to the CLG and you wouldn't have this confusion of mind. Oh, we need an ordinance, we need this, we need that. Once you take a first step, that's how you get something done. If you just look in the mountain and say it's so high, I can't get anything, I don't know where to start, you never get anywhere. That's like the basis of anxiety. But if you take a first step, you get a second step. And the first step, from what I've heard from people who know more than me, is to appoint a historical commission. So one, I would ask that there be a motion made tonight to appoint the people who've applied to the historical commission. Number two, I would ask that with regard to the UEZ, that ordinance be amended to indicate that Mount Holly will continue its commitment to maintaining its historical preservation status, and anything to the contrary in the environmental resolutions, preliminary zone development plan is not approved. That way we know we're going to be committed to historical preservation. We don't have to scotch the ERI report, but we're committed to historical preservation. I would ask that that amendment take place. And then we have 2025-29, which is really an abridgment of free speech, because it calls for judgment calls as to what is assertive, what is advocacy, what is vitriol, and what is truculent. It allows for arbitrary and capricious decisions. Like I said, there's issues of repetitiveness because I'm repeating what other people have said. And, you know, if you're going to, and the government has, people have a right to criticize the government. For instance, we don't have a master plan for 8 years. And that's the reason to be critical of the current administration, Mr. DePalco excluded, because we're lax in that. We have an emergency preparedness plan. How do we criticize that? There's a problem that Tara and Kim are not on any boards or committees. Is that misogyny? I don't know. If I called it misogyny, would that be something that's truculent, vitriolic, or derogatory or slanderous? I mean, these are things that are important to consider. So I think you have to vote 2025, 29 down. And I would ask for the amendments, or ask for an appointment of historical commission tonight so we can start the process. And I believe that's something that this council can do tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Mr. Rothman.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the back?
Good evening. My name is Amber Koperbass. I reside at 100 Madison Avenue. And I suppose I would perhaps be in violation of this possible future ordinance as well, Resolution 2025-29, which really, to me, smacks of an ongoing pattern of consolidating power and disenfranchising residents in line with our abnormal ordinance that limits our elected officials from contributing to the agenda. This ordinance can only be seen through the prism of the mayor and some of council's open animosity towards residents with any concerns or complaints regarding the current administration, and just open hostility. As public representatives, your job is to listen to and respect your constituents, not stifle their speech to create a facade of consensus. And that is what this ordinance seems to be after. And I would urge you to, if not for moral reasons, but consult with some of what the ACLU has to say in terms of it's very clear that public bodies cannot censor the speech of the public unless it gets to the point of being a direct threat of violence or some sort of attack like that. It is even mentioned in contradiction to the ordinance that you have here that people of the public can be warned that they could be liable for slander, but it's not up to the public body to decide what slander is in the moment. There is a 2010 ruling. This was in regards to a school board, but they operate under the same regulations, that any limitations need to be content neutral and serve a significant government interest. There has to be a really high bar that is crossed to limit and censor public speech, as I would hope everyone in this room agrees with and would want to see in a democracy. The Open Public Meetings Act states that the members of the public may speak on any issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern or interest to residents, not those which council or the mayor see fit. Also, the League of Municipalities in New Jersey recommends 5 minutes, not 3. I know we're probably not gonna win that because you already don't wanna hear from us, but I don't even assume my comments will have any impact, but I would like them to at least be on the record. Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Anyone else in that? Anyone else in the back? Sit down.
Hello, Richard Dow, 232 Rutland Avenue. 2 things. One, I'd like to thank the council for the AC seat. I think I heard that I was on it. And the other is, I'm looking forward to this new green space that Commerce Place Park brings downtown. The one critique that I would have, and I missed putting in, you guys sent out a survey online. I got it, but just didn't have the time to die, so I'll bring it here. The one critique I had was this canoe mooring and launch area. It's a little bit of a walk from the parking lot. And I know it's not included in this plan, but if you look at this, this drawing, right across the street or the other side of the bridge, crossing Commerce Place, where there is a parking lot saying future park expansion. So future park expansion apparently is already there. There's a little gap right there. In my opinion, the canoe, kayak, launch, and recovery area would be more ideal for it to be over here, because you've got your parking lot right there. Because otherwise, you're talking about people, taking their canoe, their kayak off their car over here, then walking, however, what course they would take, across the street and to the canoe and the kayak launch area. And I know everywhere else, like when the county does it, there's an awesome one in Hinnsport. They put it right there on the water, and usually there's a handicap spot right there. Hinnsport again is an awesome, example off the top of my head. But yeah, I do have that critique that it is a little walk. The other thing, I'm just gonna go off the cuff on this one, And that is, in the past, there's been discussion about using UEZ funds for cameras downtown, which I don't agree with. I agree with a grant to the business owners, so they can provide their own security system, and we can tap into that, police can. And we already beat that to death. But for this particular area, park, the lighting, the trees and things like that, surveillance cameras. The county is using them. If you go up to the Army's Mount, there's a surveillance camera there. There's no presumption of privacy here. You know, you're going into a recreation area. But the security aspect of the trees and things like that, I think this area warrants cameras. But only this area so far. But yeah, that would be the other suggestion I would have there. Relocate that canoe kayak lounge to the other side and put some surveillance into that park area with some of these funds. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Dow. Anyone else that hasn't spoke, who would like to speak? All right, I'm seeing none. We're gonna close the public portion of this meeting down, and we're gonna move on to our consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by council and will be enacted by one motion. Should a council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence. Before we begin, is there anything you want to move?
Okay, Chris, I'd like to pull resolution number 2025-29, and table that resolution.
Okay, we have a move to table 2025-29. Anything else you want to move out of consent agenda and vote on separately?
Perhaps a motion on tabling that.
So is my motion to table this one first? Or we already have a first by Rich? Do we have a second? I'll second. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Astor?
No.
You don't wanna table it?
No.
Okay, sorry. Ms. Burkus?
No.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is not tabled.
Yeah, I know,
So we
motion,
vote.
I take
Okay.
motions. Remains.
I'd like to pull, can I pull J? Can I pull the bill list? Can I pull that and ask a question about it? Check that we
Just
have-
give a list of everything you want to pull.
Is that-
That's it?
is
You just
there
want to pull out
anything
the bill list?
No, I mean, I would like to still pull 2025-29, and vote on that separately, and I would love to pull, just so I can ask one question about the bill list, okay? And that was all I did.
Is that it?
That's it for me.
And I would like to pull, 2024, 36.
That was terrible.
36, it was
36
added.
is not, 36 is not. we
36
have to
isn't
go
on
off.
consent,
It's
we're
not
gonna
even-
vote on
Oh,
that.
oh,
Separately,
okay.
we're-
It
Apologize.
has to go off on and vote.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna vote on that separately.
So after we do consent, we can do 36 and 38.
Okay.
So you just want to remove the bill list and vote on that separately?
And
2025-29 and the bill list. That's it for me, you?
All right. So you still want to, since we didn't table 2025-29, you still want to vote on it,
We
right?
would like to vote on, I would like to vote on it separately, yes.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna, in one motion, we will take resolutions number 20, 25, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, and the approval of the department head reports in one motion.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a first?
A second?
We have a second. Roll call.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. Jones? Sorry, Mr. DeFalco?
All good. Yes.
Oh, that's fine. Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so resolutions number 20, 25, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 34, 33, 34, 35, and K, the approval of department head reports. Now we have a few different ones, we have a few other ones to vote on separately, so we want to vote on resolutions number 2025, 29, This is the resolution regarding the public comment during township meetings.
I'll move.
All right, you got a first? Give me a second. 2025. Do we have a second?
Second, sorry.
We have a second. All right, roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
No.
Ms. Perkins?
No.
Mr. DeFalco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Does not pass. All right, we have let me get a motion to approve the bill list, and you can ask your question.
I'll make a motion to approve. MACCS of Burlington. Trash. Is that our normal payment for trash?
No.
No. Was that the cost for the Sunday emergency
No,
pickup?
it's the, apartment complex.
Their trash removal is separate
Their
from
trash
the
removal.
regular trash removal.
Okay, and that, but that's a regular.
That's a regular-
Okay,
that's a regular
okay,
bill.
that's it, that was my question.
Second motion for approval.
You have a first? And we have a second.
I was the first.
Ms. First, we have a second.
Yep.
Roll call?
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. All right, the bill list is passed. So we have a resolution number 2024-36. This is a resolution of Mount Holly Township expressing its intent to challenge the township's fourth round present and prospective needs pursuant to the Fair Housing Act as calculated by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs.
We need a motion to add, and then we need a motion to.
So we need a motion to
We need
walk
a
that.
motion to
So
actually
let's say we need a
add it
motion
to the
first.
agenda, correct?
Motion to add resolution 2024-36 is read by the mayor to the agenda.
We have a first for the motion to add.
I'll second.
We have a second. Now we need a motion to.
Well, we do roll call
Is
first.
it a roll call?
Yeah. Ms. Astor?
Abstain.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
All right, so the motion is added.
Now we have resolution 2025-36 has been added. Now we need a motion to approve
Rejection.
or reject. This is
So-
a motion to reject.
Just put,
A motion to approve the rejection.
Right, approve the rejection.
just so that we're clear on what we're doing here for everybody, we are going to challenge, we are approving a resolution to challenge the numbers that have been presented to us.
Josh,
Their expectations.
Josh or Stephen, you want to add more clarification?
So the, part of the affordable housing, changes, we're now into the fourth round. The DCA put out numbers of what the, prospective, need for the township is. And this is the council is authorizing, a challenge to those numbers. So we're going to dispute the numbers that DCA put out and try to, come to a lower number for what the, prospective need for Mount Holly Township is.
Need and obligation.
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Not necessarily the same thing, yeah.
All right, since we have that explanation,
Motion to approve
You're first.
resolution.
I'll second.
we have a second. Roll call please.
Ms. Astor? Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Thank you. And we have another resolution that we need to walk on. Resolution number 2025-38. This is the accept the proposal from ERI. I see 37 too, sorry. Back that up, let's do a resolution number 2025-37. This is a resolution to.
We already, 37 seconds.
So do we have to do, we have to bring that up?
You approve that.
We already approved?
No, 37 is executive, you will keep that in executive.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's done, that's what I
that's
thought.
done, you don't have to do that.
So, moving on to 2025-38, to accept the proposal from ERI to review the historical element that we discussed. And this is we get a first to add this particular resolution to the agenda.
Motion to add resolution 2025-38 to the agenda.
We have a first,
Second?
we have a second, roll call.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now that's on, so resolution number 2025-38 to accept the proposal from ERI. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a first,
Second?
we have a second, roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. All right, that is passed.
Actually, point of order, I'd like to move to appoint individuals who apply to the historic committee. We have more than 12 applicants.
Right, so
Only 7.
so the applicants, first, they have to be appointed, they're mayoral appointments. And so we're not making a motion for that right now.
Okay.
Secondly, we need to do an interview for each one of those individuals, and that'll be going after this meeting. Steve, you just wanna say something?
No, that's fine, Mayor.
Okay, so we're not making a motion to
Wait, are we?
appoint.
Point of information, are we 100% sure that those are all mayoral appointments?
Josh,
So the ordinance says.
for the ordinance.
And I also think that it probably makes sense to, since we're reviewing the ordinance anyway, there needs to be, the ordinance needs to be reviewed and updated per the state statute. So, there's that aspect of it.
Yeah, aspect too.
So what you're saying is part of the requirement from the state is that we review and update that ordinance as well.
There were some deficiencies noted that have to be, the ordinance has to be updated.
Correct. All right. Moving on, so actually, that was the end of the agenda items. So now we have matters presented by the town manager. You have anything, Josh?
Nothing additional.
Nothing to add from my solicitor? They think you're good?
I'm good.
All right, matters presented by council. Let's start with Ms. Burkus.
Great. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who volunteered, participated, attended the Fire and Ice Festival. As always, one of my favorite events and went off beautifully. From what I hear in photos, I spent most of the time scooping chili, but that all went so smoothly and wonderfully, and always a great crowd. I know it is a ton of work, so I appreciate Millrace. I'm going to forget people, but Millrace, Arts Preservation, Main Street on Holly, all of the different restaurants who cooked up all that 6 gallons of chili and showed up to scoop them out. And the ice carvers and the judges, and I mean, wonderful showing. Oh, all the businesses and organizations that bought ice blocks, because that's the kind of stuff that makes these events happen. So just so appreciative, real great example of just so many different organizations and the township